dd. The Secretary shall not retain federal interest after a period of 10 years in any facility built, renovated, or repaired with funds awarded under this subclause. 4. Additional activities to improve the quality of child care services. A state shall use a portion of the Quality Child Care amount to improve the quality of child care services, which shall include a. Supporting the training and professional development of the early childhood workforce, including supporting degree attainment and credentialing for early childhood educators. bb. Developing, implementing, or enhancing the state's tiered system for measuring the quality of child care providers under subsection F. 4. B. cc. Improving the supply and quality of developmentally appropriate child care programs and services for underserved populations described in subsection F. 4. H. dd. Improving access to child care services for children experiencing homelessness and children in foster care, and e. Other activities to improve the supply and quality of child care services, including activities described in paragraphs 1 through 10 of Section 658G, B, of the Child Care and Development Block Grant Act of 1990 42 U.S.C. 9858E, v. Technical assistance. From a portion of the Quality Child Care amount, the state shall provide technical assistance to increase the supply and quality of eligible child care providers who are providing, or seeking to provide, child care services to children receiving assistance under this section, including providing support to enable providers to achieve licensure. I. Grants to localities. 1. Definition of eligible locality. In this subsection, the term eligible locality means a city, county, or other unit of general local government, or a Head Start grantee. 2. A. In general. The Secretary shall use funds reserved in subsection G. 1. A. I. 4. To award local birth through 5 child care and early learning grants to eligible localities located in states that have made it apparent that they will not apply for payments under subsection F. the Secretary shall award the grants to eligible localities in a state from the allotment made for that state under subparagraph B. The Secretary shall specify the requirements for an eligible locality to provide access to child care to children in families with income that does not exceed 200% of the federal poverty level, which shall, to the greatest extent practicable, be consistent with the requirements applicable to states under this section. B. Application. To receive a grant from the corresponding state allotment under this subsection, an eligible locality shall submit an application to the Secretary at such time, in such manner, and containing such information as the Secretary may require. The requirements for the application shall, to the greatest extent practicable, be consistent with the state plan requirements applicable to states under this subsection. F. C. Priority for localities serving underserved populations. In awarding a grant under this paragraph, the Secretary shall give priority to eligible localities seeking to serve underserved populations. J. Program requirements. 1. Non-discrimination. The following provisions of law shall apply to any program or activity that receives funds provided under this section. A. Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972, 20 U.S.C. 1681 et seq. B. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, 42 U.S.C. 2000 d et seq. C. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, 29 U.S.C. 794. D. The Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, 42 U.S.C. 12101 et seq. E. Section 654 of the Head Start Act, 42 U.S.C. 9849, 2. Maintenance of effort. To be eligible to receive a grant under this section, a state shall that receives payments under this section for a fiscal year, in using the funds made available through the payments, shall maintain child care assistance for families at levels not less than the levels provided by the state in fiscal year 2021. The Secretary shall determine the state expenditures allowable under this requirement. K. Monitoring and enforcement. 1. Review of compliance with requirements and state plan. The Secretary shall review and monitor state compliance with this section and the plan described in subsection F. 4 of the state. 2. Issuance of rule. The Secretary shall establish by rule procedures for a. Receiving, processing, and determining the validity of complaints or findings concerning any failure of a state to comply with the state plan or any other requirement of this section. b. notifying a state when the Secretary has determined there has been a failure by the state to comply with a requirement of this section, and c. imposing sanctions under this subsection for such a failure. L. Administration, using funds reserved under subsection b. 2. The Secretary shall provide technical assistance to states, territories and Indian tribes and carry out research, evaluations, and administration related to this section. M. Transition provisions. 1. Treatment of child care and development block grant funds. For each of fiscal years 2025, 2026, and 2027, a state receiving assistance under this section shall not use more than 10% of any funds received under the Child Care and Development Block Grant Act of 1990 to provide child care assistance to children under the age of 6, who are eligible under that Act. 2. Special rules regarding eligibility. Any child who is less than 6 years of age, is not yet in kindergarten, and is receiving assistance under the Child Care and Development Block Grant Act of 1990, 42 U.S.C. 9857 et seq., on the date funding is first allocated to the lead agency under this section, A. shall be deemed immediately eligible to receive assistance under this section, and b. may continue to use the child care provider of the family's choice. 3. Transition procedures. The Secretary is authorized to institute procedures for implementing this section, including issuing guidance for states receiving funds under subsection G. Sec. 23002. Universal Preschool. A. Definitions in this section. 1. Child experiencing homelessness. The term child experiencing homelessness means an individual who is a homeless child or youth under Section 725 of the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, 42 U.S.C. 11434A. 2. Child with a disability. The term child with a disability has the meaning given the term in Section 602 of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, 20 U.S.C. 1401. 3. Comprehensive services. The term comprehensive services means services that are provided to low-income children and their families, and that are health, educational, nutritional, social, and other services that are determined, based on family needs assessments, to be necessary, within the means of Section 636 of the Head Start Act, 42 U.S.C. 9831. 4. Dual language learner. The term dual language learner means an individual who is limited English proficient, as defined in Section 637 of the Head Start Act, 40